it's snowing or raining or something, but we're gonna get it done. All right, here's the video. 3 things that lifting taught me about life, or 3 lessons that I can extrapolate from the quest for physical improvement. And number 1 is you'll never get there because there doesn't exist. There isn't really a place or a point in time or a situation that you'll feel like you're done and it's complete and there's no more work to do. You know, I've never looked at myself in the mirror and thought, yeah, done. And I don't think I ever will, and I hope I never do, because that human desire to achieve more is what keeps you moving forward, surely. So instead of that lack of satisfaction being a bad thing, it's really the motivating factor, you know, and it's a good thing, and I'm sure it's what has driven human progress up to this point, you know what I mean? It's why we got electric cars and we go to the fucking moon, man. The place doesn't exist, it's an illusion, it's a carrot on the end of a stick, but it keeps you running, so it's a good thing. And also, I don't think that you can't be content. I'm not saying that you'll be sat there, you know, being unhappy with where you're at, because you can be content with how far you've come, and you can be content by looking at the body of work that you've put in, you know, and where that's got you, because progress is what makes you content, you know. That's why I think it's going to be it's hard for people to retire, you know. It's hard for people to stop doing stuff because they think that it's all going to be sweet and they're going to be happy with what they've got, but you can't really be happy with what you've got. You have to be happy with what you're getting and where you are going. There are some nuanced, seemingly contradictory points there, but I think that's it. Oh look, I'm somewhere new. I changed location. Where did it go? Maybe I'm 5 meters away. Who knows? Point number 2 is there's always going to be somebody with a bigger dick than you. And I mean, I don't mean that literally, although literally it is also true, unless you are Ulysses. In that case, it's not true and you do have the biggest dick in the world. But what I mean is, there will always be certain things about other people that are better than those specific things about you, and it's sound. Now, bear with me, because I'm not going to get into some lame-ass generic rant about how we should all accept ourselves. But let's talk about an example. Let's say I have shit chest genetics, right? So I'm going to look at somebody with great chest genetics and I'm going to say, shit, I've got really shit chest genetics in comparison to this person with good chest genetics. Now, I'm not just going to pick someone else with poor chest genetics or somebody with like normal chest genetics and go, nah, it's not that bad. Am I? Because you have a tendency always to compare your weaknesses with others' strengths. Now, I suppose that's point 1. That's point 2, part 1. Point 2, part 2 is that within each thing, each kind of characteristic or trait, or you know, whatever it is about us that we're thinking about, you have to decide whether it is appropriate to accept it or to go about changing it. And sometimes it is a degree of both. And body parts, in terms of the gym and lifting and trying to improve your physique, is a great example of that. Because on the one end of the spectrum, yeah, we've got like 30 stone women on Instagram posting selfies saying, I'm comfortable with my body and I love it the way it is. And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, well, if you really loved it, maybe you'd take some fucking care of it. You know, you're telling yourself, really, that's what you're really doing. You try and reinforce it to yourself. And that's the end of the spectrum where it is something that they can and should take measures to change. And then there are things, the other end of the spectrum, maybe I'm born with a birthmark on my face, right? Or my head is deformed, right? I can't really do that much about that, you know? And so that's the other end of the spectrum where really you should accept it, because there is nothing you can do about it. It just is, and things just are. and many things in life just are and need to be accepted exactly how they are. But you have to choose if it's something to accept or something to change, and sometimes it's a bit of both. For example, my calves are terrible. I've got tragic, skinny ass motherfucking calves. Now, what do? Do I just think, oh fuck it, well I've got shit calf genetics, so I'll just accept it? I might post a selfie on Instagram like of me calves saying I'm comfortable with the calves I was born with. Or do I go about fucking trying to change it? Well, it's a bit of both, because I change what I can, because training my calves, it's not going to do that much. Calves are generally not as responsive to training as other body parts, but it's going to make some difference. So what do? I do what I can and accept the rest. And that's probably appropriate, probably applies to things other than calf genetics. You know, sometimes you have to accept it, sometimes you have to do shit about it, sometimes you have to do shit and then accept the rest. Point number 3, the shit I learned about life from lifting weights. And this is a fucking big one, man. And it's patience, right? Point is this: when you are structuring your training and diet and your whole fitness regimen, there are going to be points where you have to make decisions about what you're going to do. There are going to be points where you feel like changing direction and maybe trying out a new thing. There are going to be points when you simply have to stick with what you are doing and trust the process. And all of these forks in the road where you have to make decisions are ones that you should be in a rational, logical, calm, relaxed state of mind to make, because all decisions are better made when approached from an objective, rational standpoint, because emotion and an emotional state is a poor state to make any decision in. And if you are particularly impatient in waiting for progress and you're desperate to reach the next, I'm desperate to get leaner, I'm desperate to get bigger, you're gonna make poorer decisions through that desperation. And actually wanting it so bad and wanting it now is what's really gonna hold you back and maybe eventually stop you from getting it. I think that's it. There's 3 things I learned about lifting. I mean about life from lifting. You'll never get there.
The point about that is, I've looked in the mirror at times and gone, fuck me, I've arrived, man. You know, I have looked in the mirror, well, you know, you might not have sick genetics, but you might actually still build a sick physique. You know what I mean? Like, I've looked in the mirror and I've gone, like, in terms of the way I look, there's nothing else that I would improve upon. I've looked in the mirror and gone, fuck me. And it's not like it's not necessarily all like a proudness of the work, because there's a lot of genetics, you know, involved in it, and there's a lot of stuff that I'm lucky for physically, stuff that I'm unlucky for as well. But you know, yeah, we'll accept it. Yeah, it's okay. I'm happy with that. Let's try to keep talking about it.
Post about it.
Happy about it. Yeah, post about it. No, but I've looked in the mirror and gone, actually, there's nothing I'd change now. Do you know what I mean? And you could always find it, but in that situation where you look in the mirror and you go, let's just say physique as an example, and you go, shit, I'm happy with everything, like I'm done, so to speak, it would then be a bad decision to just leave it, you know what I mean? To not just, I don't mean stop going to the gym, I mean, it would be a mistake to keep that mindset and just sort of like rest on it, you know what I mean? You then need to find something else to do. Like you said about the keep moving forward thing, you have to then find something to do rather than just being happy with it and then just crossing it off, you know.
There's always going to be somebody with a bigger dick than you.
When you compare yourself to other people, obviously there's a lot of noise about this, saying like don't do it and all this sort of stuff.
Sometimes do it, surely.
But sometimes, yeah, you should, because competition is is what keeps you going in a way. And actually, like, if you're at point X and you want to get to point Y, you can't afford to be sitting there going, I need to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons, and this and this and this needs to be in line before I do it. If you've got like a petty motivation to do something, if that makes you go and do something and improve in a certain area, you should fucking do it, man. But you need like, not just that, you need like a better reason for it as well. It's like a combination of things that motivate you to do stuff. It's not like, you don't just go, well, I've been sacked, so I need to go and get a better job to prove them wrong. Like, that's a good reason, but like, you should probably do it because for a better reason as well, if that makes sense.
Maybe from a longevity point of
view. Of course.
You need multiple layered.
Yeah. Your motivation needs to be like fucking 2 or 3-fold. It needs to be like higher purpose motivation, petty motivation, and then like a practical day-to-day motivation. Like, I need money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, how will it benefit my life on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah.
But yeah, comparing yourself to other people, especially over stuff that you can't control, is futile. This is why it's kind of like you could make fun of someone for something that they couldn't control, but as long as it's in a joking sort of manner. Otherwise, you're a fool if you think that, you know, like if I rip someone for being, that's like making fun of someone for being like disabled or some shit, isn't it? You know what I mean? It's like, if you can't control it, I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, actually.
No, that's, I know what you mean. It's like bragging. Like,
Yeah.
It's like, right, let's talk about dicks again. It's like bragging about having a big dick.
Yeah, of course,
so
yeah.
What, mate?
It's like, why are you making fun of me for something that I can't control? Because if someone tries to make fun of me of something I can't control, that's not even gonna land, man. Because it's like, what?
It's just a thing.
It doesn't even make sense.
Going back to what I was
It's
saying.
just a thing that is.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all right.
Yeah.
You know, that's okay.
And as patience, there are going to be points when you simply have to stick with what you are doing and trust the process.
Now, like with any point, there's a caveat to it, all right? Every truth is but a half truth. Now, it's easy to fall into the trap of going, oh, you know, I'm just being patient. But then you look back and you've made no progress in fucking 8 weeks or something. You know what I mean? And the world is filled with positivity and all this like false, that end of the spectrum spoken about in point 2. So don't fall into that trap. You know, if you've made no progress in like 8 weeks or something like that, you can't just say, oh, well, I'm just being patient. There's a time when you've got to go, all right, let's get moving. You know, it's time to go. And that's it, really.
Delaney is my hero.